Guys, welcome. I'm just going to kick things off. I'm doing this one a little bit on the whim because obviously we've got CPI data coming soon. I'm just going to post this around. And then we'll get started. I hope everyone's well. I hope everyone's doing good. And there it is in the Discord. Of course, if you're not in the Discord or you're new around here and you don't know who I am, I'm Will Sebastian, private multi-asset day trader. I run a global trading academy called Be Profitable Trading Academy. If you're coming in, do press the rocket, press the boost. We're going to cover a lot before the news. And as you'll see in the middle of the screen, if I just refresh, the banner says right there, if you're serious about trading, then this is where you go. https://bit.ly/trades WOTT. I am just going to email this out to everyone now as well. Please do post a question about the upcoming CPI news or any charts, anything about trading you want. Just pop it in the right hand side and I will answer that in due course. But just for now, I'm just going to send a quick email out to let everyone know we're starting because I didn't pre-plan this. I didn't tell anyone I was going to do it. And now, of course, I am. So it's probably best I let people know so they can come off their lunch breaks and then they can open up the stream. So I'm going to label it important because it is. Okay. And then we'll get started in about 60 seconds. I'll let everyone come on board. Okay. And I think we are ready. Just sign it off, Will Sebastian, founder. And as always, as I said, if you want to ask a question, please do put it in the chat box now. You've got the opportunity to do so right this instant. Doesn't matter what it is. Whatever you think is not a good question is probably a good question. I often say that. It's really important you do that because if you don't, of course, you're simply just missing out on something you could learn. There's always something you can learn, and yeah, it's a good idea to get started in that case. What I'm going to do is just check that the stream is running okay, in case there's any tech errors. So I'm slightly concerned about the image that's on the screen now. Missing out on something you could learn. There's always something you can learn. And I think we're okay. Yeah, at this point, if anyone's got any tech problems, what I'm going to do is just let me know, and I'll move on with it. Anyhow, what have we got? US CPI. Okay, it's coming at 1:30 GMT. It's in just under half an hour. Why is it important? Why am I doing a stream? Well, what you've got is globally central bankers. They're looking for information. They're almost in the same seat as you. Everyone is looking for a reason to judge what's going to happen next in the global economy and the global monetary system as a whole. The cycle of money effectively is all down to borrowing, more or less. The more you can borrow, the more people spend money. And when they can't do so, like now, that changes. So you've got the consumer price index, which is going to tell you a lot about inflation month on month for August. You've got the year on year for August. You've got the consumer price index, which some people say is more important for food and energy, because that's what people really are using at the moment. And you've got a lot of talk about oil as well, with Saudi oil cuts. But nonetheless, we're going to go through the lot. I'm just going to have a look. I'm going to open this chart first. As I said, please do, if you're coming in now, please do press the rocket, press the boost, and ask me a question in the chat box. It's really important you do both those things. So we can progress. Okay, so S&P mini futures, what have we got? Well, again, because you haven't had really any significant impetus in the market, you've just seen this sideways dawdling. And that's why I'm putting so much emphasis on the news that's coming now. Whether it will move markets or not remains to be seen. But the reason why the markets aren't moving is because there isn't really any reason for it to happen. In other words, you don't have the volatility. You don't have people changing their trading mind and making new decisions about what they want to buy and sell. Normally, or practically always, that's going to be stimulated simply by news, okay, things that people can see going on. Because suddenly, if inflation looks a bit hairy, they may say, oh wow, I think the indexes are going to drop, and therefore they change their bias on indexes. And it's the same for currency pairs. Okay, they might find that they think there's going to be more or less strength in the US dollar, and therefore they change their mind on euro, AUD, New Zealand, etc. So what was I talking about yesterday when I did a stream? Well, what you've actually got is really interesting as well. Because of that lack of sentiment, what has happened is you've come down to this area here, okay, and it's gone sideways, as I said, from 7th September to 13th. So the 7th was Thursday, we're now on Wednesday, it's almost a week, okay, and all that happened was, and as I said, I called it long down here, where I've just drawn that line, okay, that was our predetermined long zone. We had a nice bounce, and then of course I called it short at your early MAs. So again, it's no coincidence. This is why I emphasize using key moving averages so much, because that kind of thing doesn't just happen by accident. The reason why it happens is all rule based. Okay, your MAs tend to guide you through trend, right? So when you came up to here as well, I also labeled this as a key level of price action. And that's why I said, look, you can lightly short it, because what's happening is you're coming to very early MAs and there's a lot of weakness in this market anyway. So the chances are it may fall. Of course it did. And I'm out of those shorts. I think everyone in my academy is out of those shorts. And if you're not, really would. Having said that, I wouldn't be surprised if you do come slightly lower. I do have long orders on the pound dollar, slightly lower than we are now. And I think it's quite an ideal spot for longs. Let me just redraw that. I think I've got orders. Where are we? Actually, let's look at the weekly. The weekly gives us a longer term view, which is what we're after. I've got short orders slightly lower in the event that we do come down here. Okay, so I would prefer it long down here. And I think there's still room to go. The reason why I say that is because if you look at this, that little pop-up, like I said, it looks like a cyclops, doesn't it? It hasn't gone very far. I mean, you can see that better on your 4 hour. Okay, what happens is when you get this kind of thing, you really have to ask yourself, well, if there's buy-side impetus, why hasn't it shot up? Why does it keep coming straight back? And these things, a lot of the time, they will not hold. Okay, now that doesn't mean you need to short, because technically you're still at a place previous long side bias, well, price action. But I would just prefer it long lower. Okay, and I think you'll come under this low in particular. It's always wise to check monthly levels too. Okay, so I think more ideally is this. I would like it long. I've got long orders slightly lower, and I'm looking about for entries. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 5 area is ideal for me. If you get that on the news, it would be great, and I will be straight in long. I've evaluated why that is so many times, but you don't have to be a genius. What happens after a series of red candles? Okay, what gets left? Buying. That's what gets left. If you look here, you only have 3 red ones, then you get like 4 or 5 ones, 3 again. Every single time it comes straight back up. So when you've got double the red candles as normal, don't you think perhaps it might be ideal to take long? Okay. Now with that, of course, is the weekly tech zones, which I just labelled with weekly price action. They're the strongest form of PA or rejection levels because they exist on higher time frames. And as you'll know if you follow me, I often say higher time frames dictate the long-term swing of the market. Okay, just remember all time frames have the same data. Effectively, they're all the same thing at the end of the day. But the more you zoom out, 1 month, 3 months, 12 months, the further you go back. So you can see 1971 on there, and there's considerably less candles, but it's showing you the overall market trajectory. It's showing you the downtrend. At the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. Series of lower highs, lower lows. Okay, so the consensus for the pound against the dollar over time, or for at least 52 years, is you're going down and down and down and down and down and down. So it makes sense to keep that in mind and just evaluate that this could just be a retracement and you could get lower. Okay, within that you get to buy as well. So that's where I differ a lot of the time. If you're looking at a 12-month chart, you're looking at a 50-year process. It's going to take way longer, and there's no point in saying to yourself, well, I'm only going to sell because it's a downtrend. Because within that, you're going to go up loads of times for a very long time, years at a time, like you've seen. So what you do have, however, is uptrend. Everyone can see that. It's really not difficult. You really need parallel lines if you can, which is more or less what you've got here. It's completely off. But I like this long. I think, however, you will get slightly under where you've got the trend line. And I think, like I said, I would much prefer it around 1, 2, 3, 5, 5. I think that is going to be your area, your kill zone. I may update a post on it, or maybe make a post on it, but you might find that's the case. You might find it ends up looking like this. Okay, I mean, you can move your inline however you want, really. Your line of best fit is going to change in the same case. So I like my trading channels drawn automatically for me. Okay, and it can vary based on parameters, but all you need to know is that's an uptrend. Okay, that is a trending up market, as you can see. So we're in line with the uptrend. We're coming to key price action levels. We've got a stock oscillator that's down, and new sentiment, depending on inflation, will dictate, and probably Fed comments. But all that's left is correct size and correct trades management thereon. But you just have to look plainly. I mean, the easiest way, 2 months straight down, you'll come into this rock hard support there. Okay? That's really important. That is your area. So that's your pound. Your euro is much of the same, really. Prefer looking at the weekly for this, but it's even worse on your red candles. Down, 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 down. Okay? I think with your pound, you could go lower. And just remember, I'm going to make this absolutely blindingly clear. Yes, I think you might trickle lower. That does not mean I'm going to sell now. Please do not sell at this point. Okay? If you wanted to sell, you should have done it there. You should have done it there, and you should have done it there. Now we're buyers, but we just want the right price. Okay? So I'm not going to short because I know there's a chance you might not get to this point. But if I'm not in the market, it doesn't matter because I can't lose any money. So I'll just hold off for longs lower. 10646, that's where it's coming for me. I think on your ords you'll get lower as well. I think your New Zealand can easily trickle lower. I can't see any long side bias there. Probably the most relevant point of rejection / price action comes at this point. So I've got orders across the board on all dollar pairs. I'm ready to go. I will just say as well, if you're coming in, press the boost button, ask me a question. Nobody has been brave enough yet to ask me anything. Not sure why, hopefully they will in a sec, but do press that boost button. It helps me out a lot. People who are looking and waiting to trade the CPI might just see it and go, wow, perhaps this is useful. Perhaps he's saying sense. And it helps me and helps everyone else. So thanks for that, I do appreciate it. Oil, I said I wouldn't be surprised if it trickled slightly higher. You had further comments today. I'm just looking at it on my screen. Just find them. Some political figure said, or some economic person said that cutting more Saudi cuts basically is going to cause a much larger rally. I did say there's strong sentiment. I said you might get slightly higher, so be cautious. But nonetheless, I'm scaling in short. If we get higher than this, which I'm not absolutely shocked by, I wouldn't be surprised, then I'll just spread my shorts out and simply I'll scale into the market further. I know I can handle the curve, I know I can handle the risk, and my size is small enough to deal with that at all times. My earlier short was far lower, and I've got various hedge gains anyway. So that's what helps me there. Yens, I think CAD yen you'll get slightly higher. I think AUD yen you may get slightly higher. Pound yen short, Swiss yen short, AUD yen, CAD yen, Euro yen, all of it I'm short. I would much rather be short at this point. I mean, just look at the monthly. Monthly 114 to 158, ridiculously high. Swiss yen 100, 165, ridiculous. It's all just too high, and it's short. Please check gold. Thank you. Someone's asked me something. That's always handy, isn't it? Gold, as I've said on various occasions, I think you're going to get lower. Again, much the same bias as I said before. Don't sell it. Just wait for the long. Okay. What I also like as well is the fact you've got this green 100 MA creeping along, which is really, really handy because it adds into that overall long side bias that you may find you have when you get to that point. So that's my long zone. It's going to come about 1860. Okay, I've done a big edit as pick post on this. If you go on my profile and search for gold, it's there. You can see this is looking topside heavy. Rejection on the top of the candle, immediate pull down. I can't see much strength in there. I think you're going to get lower. Okay, wouldn't short, just let it run its course and get to that point. Anything higher, I would reach short 1970. Hope that answers your question directly. Now, there's absolutely tons of people in here. Press the boost, ask me something. This big, lovely white space for a question is waiting, and it's screaming, going, ask me something. So just put it in there. It doesn't matter what it is. I really don't mind. Long or short, I just spent an awful long amount of time on the pound dollar. I'd probably rewind it if I were you, but I'm letting it fall. I'm not short. I'm just letting it fall, and I prefer it long lower. NASDAQ, that's a good question. Thank you for that. Yes, I'll check over the NASDAQ, just briefly. NASDAQ, much the same as S&P futures. Although if you look at your 1 hour, you can see you're starting to poke up slightly. I'm really interested in what the news is going to do today, and I know my Academy members are well prepared, as I will be. If you are watching this and you're in my Academy, you're a paid member, and you've seen the banner on the front of the screen, and you're an action taker, you're serious, you want results, okay, you actually want things to work, just send me a message with a question, and if you can do it now before the CPI, that would be very, very much ideal. So, short 15,400 for light entries, and that's where I would take it if I were you. Looking longer term, it's the same. So slightly higher on your NASDAQ. US 30, I did a post on this as well. I wouldn't short at this point yet. I would short slightly higher. So in other words, S&P, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, I like them on a slight push to the upside, and then I would have short entries at that point because this is where your price action is. There's nothing in the way before then. If you get a spike up on the news, that would be very ideal. You can short the impulse as long as your risk is in line with what's appropriate to make that happen. So we've got news soon. In a second, I'm going to go off and trade my broker accounts and help my members, my paid ones. As I said, if you want to get on board, the banner is along the bottom. Has anyone got any more questions? Anything before the news and where we're at? In other words, whatever you want to know, we've had some good ones in there, just ask. This is your time. On top of that, I will say it's quite a precipice for various global economic zones. They're all waiting for a direction. They're all waiting to know how are things looking, because there's been a break in any new sentiment or any key detail in where the markets are and what they're going to do. And that break causes these sideways movements. And as many of you know, if you follow me, the markets are sentiment driven. And therefore, what we're looking for is the sentiment to come in the market. Someone's just DM'd me saying, how do we get on board? As I said, various times, the banner is in the middle of the screen. Go to that link. That's how you get on board my academy. Once you're on, I'll make you an account and you can ask me whatever you want. And you can start trading properly from someone who trades for income. So, any other questions, guys? I can't see anything in there. Like I said, we're at a point where you want to be set up correctly. You don't want to be dithering. You want to know what's going on. In short, I guess I'm short the yens. I'm waiting to get long on gold. Global indexes, I think, are going to fall after a slight push up. Perhaps if you get it on the impulse from this news, that'd be ideal. Dollars, dollar pairs, euro dollar, pound dollar, or dollar, New Zealand dollar, I've got orders lower. I'm waiting for a fall as well. If the market rises and doesn't get there, I'm not in, I don't lose money. If it does get there, I get a great entry. That's really how you want to position yourself. You don't want to be overexposing, you don't want to trade too large, and you don't want to trade at the wrong time. So, as I said, yeah, that's my overall consensus for the market at the moment. I'm just waiting for the news to come out. You've got about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go off, trade my accounts, and help my academy members. I hope that is... someone's just asked about the DAX. So, yeah, I mean, technically it's a long, but this is a size-based trade. Of course, that's what you need my rules for entirely. I know we've spoke about it probably 1,000 times, but if your size is wrong, you'll get hurt if it falls. I would say that very well may happen. And dollar yen, like all yens, is a short. So yens are short. Dollar pairs I'm waiting to drop slightly, excluding the US dollar yen. Indexes I think are going to fall. So thanks for watching, and I hope that helps as always. There's tons of people in here. I mean, I could stay on, I guess, but I do need to get on and trade myself. DP Jason Hahn. Jason Hahn in the chat box is a member of Be Profitable Academy. He's doing really well, and he's getting results. We spoke on many occasions, and perhaps he can spread some words on this stream. I don't know. But great to see you, Jason. Do you have any questions? Perhaps if you want to ask me them privately, I can run into detail because you take action and you're a paid member and you want to make things work, presumably. But yeah, great to see you and great to see everyone else. You've got your news coming out soon. Like I said, if you're not positioned well and your sizes are not in a fit plan that you can adjust to based on the market sentiment and the risk price action and 120 videos worth of rules, then things will be quite sore and you'll end up losing money. So as Jason says in the chat box, thanks Jason, I appreciate that. Best program I've ever done. Excellent. So I hope to build on those results further, and I'm sure we will. And I'm sure you're going to trade the CPI news shortly as well. So I appreciate those words. Thanks. Same person asked about dollar yen again. I've said twice now that all yen, or 3 times I think, but never mind. Just turn the sound up slightly if you can't hear me. Dollar yen is also a short. It's creeping up a bit more, but maybe you'll get slightly higher. But nonetheless, overall, I am looking short on the dollar yen. Okay. There's still tons of people in here. I may even open up my laptop here so I can manage what's going on for myself whilst we go through the markets. I mean, I could stay on while they move, if they move. I mean, you might have a non-event. There's a good chance, perhaps, you may have a non-event. We'll just have to see. But I think from here, I've covered practically all markets. Thanks to Jason as well for giving some words on the program and my academy and whatnot. If anyone's got any questions, I'll say it now. If anyone has any questions, pop them in the chat box now. Right here. It's open, it's ready to go, and it's waiting to have a question typed in it. There's loads of people in here. Push the boost, ask me something, okay? And I'll wait for a minute because CPI data is coming. And lots of you will either make money or lose money, probably. And it's all about who is ready and who's not, to be honest. What can you do? So there's even more people in here. I think it's because it's getting nearer to the news time. So yeah, I mean, maybe I could stick around. I've got various things I'd like to manage. And I'll probably start scalping the markets. Normally when I've got the most priced action, FX markets move a lot and it's a good time to be in and around. So I'll give it another minute. If anyone wants to ask anything, your time is now. The CPI data comes out very shortly. you've got the chance. Now, as I said, if you're a paid Academy member, just go onto Discord, ask me privately so I can help you. Yeah, we'll go from there. So 30 more seconds I'll give, and we'll kill it at 25 minutes. And I think that will do really well. Thanks to everyone as well who's pressed that boost button, the little rocket on the left-hand side of the screen. It really helps. I really appreciate that too. Can't see any questions at the moment, so I think we'll kill it there. Thanks for coming, guys. Hope that helps. If you want to go over what I've spoke about, just rewind it. Of course, if you're serious about trading, the link to trade with myself, get my mentoring, my video series, all the help you need, the banner's in the middle. Let's get you started. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.